at the end of the day, we're all healing from something, and we all have something that we're not letting go of. Whether or not we're vocal about it, verbal about it, clinging to it, whether we're at the stage where we've sort of let it go and we're moving on, but then we don't want to move on and back and forth, it doesn't matter. We're all holding on to something and unwilling to let it go. Welcome to my so-called healing podcast. We are super glad you're here.
There it is.
There it is.
I was waiting for it.
The breakdown, because it just feels...
It's our jam. Oh, look, we've got a friend.
Oh, the cat's in the zone.
Featuring Nugget.
Okay, let me try and get comfy. Sorry, the sound quality is going to be not so great on this because I'm trying to get cozy in this little spot that we'll see about how it goes.
We're working on a set. We're trying to build a set.
Well, we've built one. This weekend's been a real fun weekend. I have been all over
hunting
the world looking for this one table I want. And I don't know if any of you are like me, but like I am super creative and I am able to like pivot and stuff. But once I have like the image in my head, it's like when I'm painting or decorating, whatever I'm doing, like I will not stop until I find something at the bare minimum similar to what the original vision was.
Even if it means we go to 12 stores.
I went to more than 12 stores.
It was for sure more than 12. We did not find it because apparently finding a
round table is a problem.
Round table is asking for too much in this world.
I mean, I'd have taken a plastic one. It's not like any of you would have been able to notice that it was plastic. There was nothing. So I was like super disappointed and overwhelmed and anxious, including waking up this morning like, what are we going to do? Are we going to find it? Are we not going to find it? Like, how is this going to work?
So it's a work in progress. I'd say it's a work in progress, but we've made a lot of good progress. So basically, you should check out the YouTube videos so you can see our cool little
setup. Because it took me blood, sweat, and tears to get this thing moving, just FYI, literally. Anna stood there not knowing how to straighten the tarp at the bottom.
I was trying to help.
She helped pulling it, but my feet we needed a third person is what we needed.
It was a struggle.
It was definitely a struggle.
But we made it. We're here.
And we're glad that we're here.
And we're glad that you're here.
Yes. And if you haven't already, head over to Facebook and join our Facebook group and follow us on our webpage. And you can send us voicemails. You can send us private messages about what you want us to talk about or anything that we've covered that you feel like we could expand on or that you hate. Whatever. I mean, no matter what, just tell us what the things are. And we'll be able to communicate with you that way as well.
Yes.
Trying to build a community is kind of difficult.
It is. I don't know what I had in my mind. I think in my head it was going to be easier than it is. But I feel like we're doing good. And I feel like people are engaging. So shout out to everyone engaging because I think that's the hardest part is getting people to engage. But I also recognize that I am very much the person in a group that doesn't engage. So... trying to be the person getting people to engage, I'm like that person.
The irony.
Yeah, it's funny.
The irony's there.
It's not lost on me.
Yeah, I think it's going in the right direction anyway. It's cultivating the vision, so that's cool. And I feel very empowered by the people that we have spoken to, which I think is great.
We're excited about where we're headed.
So I was going to talk today a little bit about toxicity and looping, inability to let go.
Let things go.
Which is hard for a lot of us. Whether it's anxiety, whether it's attachment, whether it's whatever it is, it's hard for people to let things go. Particularly if you're someone who has to be right. Then you're really not letting things go. I learned a long time ago in my first marriage, first time around, that sometimes it's better to be happy than to be right because justifying something doesn't make you happy necessarily. It just validates that you were wronged or harmed or someone did something shitty to you. But ultimately, having it justified doesn't make you happy because what happens after you get the justification and the validation of it? You're just bitter and sitting in the justification with it.
And then you're just...
Nobody's letting it go.
No, you're just feeding into the anger or whatever it is.
Yeah. I mean, there was a lady when I got sober, someone my age, and she would not let this dog go. This looping thing about this dog, and the ex-boyfriend had the dog,
I think I remember the story.
It was like the dog, the dog, the dog, the dog. I mean, it was like relentless. And I actually had to ask my husband, I'm like, what is with this? Like, what is with the obsession with the looping with the freaking dog? Don't get me wrong. I would be crushed if I had to leave a pet. Like, that would be very hard to go through. But it was almost like fixating one thing on into the next. And she was like not able to let it go. There are so many people walking this earth that are like that.
Will not let things go, yeah.
Will not. And it makes them sick, honestly.
Well, I think these people are just miserable people. And so they find one thing, anything to cling to just, I don't know, give them an excuse to be miserable, to try to make everyone else miserable with them. I don't know. But they have to have something to always be complaining about.
Well, yeah, or be sad about. I mean, it's not just complaining,
yeah.
like something's... Are we beyond something being wrong, Are we...
What is that supposed to mean?
Are we beyond?
Are you saying I'm this person?
No. I'm saying, do you think that you don't have something that you're not letting go? Well, because I do. I'm not letting ice cream go because I started air flavor ice. I started eating them in December, and I'm going right on strong through February.
But that's not a negative thing.
It is for me.
What's wrong about it?
I'm insulin resistant. I should not be eating that amount of sugar.
Well, it's not that much sugar in them. It's ice with some flavor on it.
It's a lot of sugar when you eat 4. Like, it's a lot.
Whatever.
It's not good for me.
You could eat a whole pint of Ben and Jerry's, and you're not doing that.
Well, I'm having some of Ben and Jerry's sometimes. No, I'm just saying, like, I think we all here, at the end of the day, we're all healing from something, and we all have something that we're not letting go of. Whether or not we're vocal about it, verbal about it, clinging to it, whether we're at the stage where we've sort of let it go and we're moving on, but then we don't want to move on, and back and forth, it doesn't matter. We're all holding on to something and unwilling to let it go. Mm-hmm. Now, I brought up the justification because there's a current situation in my life. I live in this fun little community, which at first was hard to be sober, and I'm not going to lie, because there is a ton of drinking in my neighborhood. It's like a golf community and swim community, and there's a lot of fun things that happen. I go because it's fun, even if I'm sober. So like, it's all fine with me, but there's these new people moving in, like older people are moving out, newer people are moving in, and you just find the dynamic getting different. And like this person, I'm not going to name, obviously, is just unwilling to let go of the unhappiness she has with this new house that she's purchased. Whether it's the floors or the walls or the this or the that, because they bought the house and they're redoing a lot of the stuff in the house. And the homes that I live in all need to be redone. They're built in the 80s. So everyone who moves into them is redoing them. Like that's, nobody's really moving in and keeping it, like for instance, my remodel that's still going on 20 years later. And I feel like I'm on SpongeBob 15 years later. But we have a half skeleton of a kitchen.
We're getting there.
And the floors are in, so it's like, I'm so excited.
It's all coming together.
But the thing is what is this serving you? Like, what's serving you in sitting in this miserable space of unhappiness? Like here, if you flipped it and went from a place of gratitude, what would happen? What would your journey be like then? I'm speaking directly to this person. She doesn't listen, but on the off chance. Like, what happens if we look at the fact that you have this beautiful home, you're about to start a family, like where do things go for you when you look at things from that angle?
Well, it's like the negativity breeds negativity, positivity breeds positivity.
Right. But what specifically for her, I'm just curious is what the negativity, like what residing in it is doing for her.
Well, I honestly think that it's just that she's such a miserable person. If it wasn't the house, it would be something else. You can
Oh, we don't know that, Anna. Actions have to happen twice for things to.
I mean, I'm pretty sure. Based on the things that I've heard, that's just my gut intuition. I could be wrong, but I just feel like it doesn't matter what you could put anything in its place, and there
are people like that. Yeah, for sure. They find a problem for every solution. Yeah, for sure.
That's just
she could be one.
My 2 cents.
She could be. It's possible. And here, I think it's just ironic. It's interesting because my neighborhood group of friends is pretty tight knit, I'd say. I mean, I'm very close with one of my neighbors, 2 for sure. And 3, I interact with 3 on a regular basis, right? 3 women. But then there's like this larger group. And then it's like, oh, hey, like, and then you talk.
No, I'd say you guys are fairly like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone gets along. So when you have someone coming in and just talking trash about the house that they bought and the people who live there, like, it's just not, it just drags down the event or the mood, you know?
It's that negativity. It's that, like you said, toxicity.
Yeah, it's hard. And it's hard. So I have a neighbor who's put some boundaries up. I'm not going to state what they are, but they're pretty firm and uninviting. And then I just see I'm like in this weird zone too because I'm not living in the sub yet. Right now I'm living with my parents, so like I feel like I'm always going on a field trip, like visiting.
Yeah.
Like I had an event at my friend's house the other night, and she does these parties and like Botox and like all this stuff, and I was like, oh yeah, I don't need to leave till like 7, and then I was like, oh wait, I'm like 10 minutes away. No, I gotta go. Like I'm not. You're down like, the street.
Yeah, you're outside of it. You're
my little pocket of the world, I guess we'll call it. But it's been interesting just stretching myself. And here, this person that's new and not complains, who won't let things go, also doesn't know much about me because she hasn't really given me an opportunity to share much about myself because she's busy showing pictures and talking about her house, which is also a turnoff for people. You know, I talk a lot, but I'm also really good at just listening a lot, which, you know, I think that's why people just like word vomit stuff to me, you know, because I can sit and just listen and just, and I don't know, maybe that's where she feels that I need to fit right now. But I just hope that people really work on switching if you're looping something that's negative, if you're unable to move to a positive attitude, then try and find something to be grateful for, man. Like, it's hard. Even my husband's group, he's got this now. I hear not anything like the beginning, like if I'm walking through, I have to, where we're at right now is I have to like, it's not centrally, he's like not in a good place all the time. Like people can't go in the kitchen after, you know, once these things start. But like I'll hear the beginning, and I love that my husband starts every one of his groups like, and these are large groups, but like, hey, introduce yourself, tell us why you're here and what you're grateful for. And this guy was like, hi, I'm so and so. I don't remember the name. And you know, stress and blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, and I'm still working on trying to find out what I'm grateful for, but I'm working on it. So I guess I'll say group today. And I was like, you know what? That guy like gave it a shot, right?
Yeah,
like I was like, good.
That's something.
Then the next guy, I'm grabbing my bag, and I've like actually busted out laughing because the next guy's like, hi, I'm so-and-so. I'm here for ... And I'm grateful because I got a warm pizza being delivered in 10 minutes. And he was like so excited. And then the whole group, my husband's group, they all start chiming in. You better not be getting pineapple on that pizza. Like, it was like so funny. I was dying.
Listen, I am always grateful for a warm pizza that I'm about to smash. So I feel that.
I feel that. These like adults, right? Like, it's just so funny because it's like instantly childlike. Like they're like, I'm going to come over. I'm grateful. I'm going to go over and eat so-and-so's pizza. Or, sounds like it's going to be a good pizza. And that sparked the guy who went before him to be like, you know what? I'm grateful for his pizza. Like everyone, it lightened the mood, and it just coming from a place of gratitude.
Well, that's the thing too, is I've heard this thing in the past. I think it was our ex-girl, Rachel Hollis. But one of the things I did take away from her a lot was writing a gratitude list for the small things that you're grateful for, not like the big things. Like I'm grateful for the roof over my head, or I'm grateful for, like the big things we always knee-jerk go to.
Don't think so.
But when you point out the small things, like I'm grateful for my cup of coffee in the morning, or I'm grateful for, I don't know, something small and random that happens during the day, it teaches your brain to look for those things throughout the day. So then you start noticing them when they're happening. And then it's like a trickle-down effect.
At the end of the day, though, isn't it the little things that make up the big things in our lives?
1,000%. I mean,
it's hard. I think coming from a place of complete catastrophe when I started doing gratitude lists, and it's very common in AA, shouldn't have said AA, 12-step program, whatever. It's like really common practice to write what you're grateful for, 3 things. And that's how I started when I got sober. It was 3 things. And I can remember sitting there like, I'm grateful for nothing.
Yeah.
Like always my daughter, because I had one daughter at the time, always Gabby, like would always, and then it was like, what else am I grateful for? I don't know. I don't know if I'm grateful. Nothing. Hate where things are. I hate where I'm at. I'm, starting at this turning point. My life is total shit right now. And it felt difficult to think of
things.
A cup of coffee or a shower, a hot shower,
right.
Now today it's easier for me to think of small things and not big things. So that's kind of funny, the way that's worked itself out. But I think that, she had gratitude is, fear cannot live in the same space that gratitude exists. It's not possible. It's actually it's scientifically proven that, like, if you're anxious and you're fearful about something and you're thinking about it, like if you sit in gratitude, like fear and gratitude cannot reside in the same space. Yeah. So it's better to be grateful than live in fear of and worrying of what may or may not happen and potential outcomes. Happens a lot financially for people with, you really get like afraid, like with money. I think fear creeps up very easily because it's, your livelihood, et cetera. Like it can be, I'm either going to lose this or I'm not going to lose this, or I'm going to have this or I'm not going to have this.
We were just having that conversation the other day about finances, because I said that, like, I'm trying to find that line of obviously not coming from like a lack negative standpoint view of money, but also realistic of like, this is where I'm at financially, and finding that line.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of, I'm still trying to figure that one out.
It's hard. I used to wake up and worry about money. I still occasionally, it's been a very long time since I've had to do that.
Jeff, your husband is so good about not worrying about money, ever.
Yeah, I mean, he will be like, we're going to be fine. My husband has a faith that in the universe and in God, I mean, that's how we are. But like he believes, like, we've never been destitute. It's always shown up. It always comes through. Quit worrying. Like, it's going to be fine. And I'm always like, going to be fine. I got to pay the dance studio. I got to pay that, and then he's like, Brooke, it's going to be fine. It's what money comes work through me effortlessly. Like he does these whole affirmations every single day. And you know what? They haven't failed us. So lately when I start spiraling, because a home remodel is very expensive, and I feel like every time I turn around, I'm more money being spent. He is very good about being like, it's going to be fine. Like there's where we spend it, it just comes right, like it comes right back through, and like don't worry about it.
That's an affirmation I saw earlier. Like the money I spend is replaced easily, or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, and he'll be like, "What? Why worry about it? Yeah. Why would you?"
Which is so true, because. And I will stress the fuck out about money. But even when I've been in the worst of places financially, I have always figured it out.
Yep.
So like, why do we so easily get stuck in that stress, negative looping?
Well, it's scary. And then you start doing things that are unnecessary because, like it's not.
And then you just feed it. You just constantly are feeding into that.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know, my dad once told me, I was worried about money or something. He was like, why worry about money? You either have it or you don't. Worry about your health if you're going to worry about anything. Like, worry about keeping yourself healthy and like moving and flexible. And he's like, you either have the money or you don't. It's this or that. You can call companies and tell them you don't have it and you need extra time. Whatever it is, you either can pay it or you can't. There is no in between. That's the way it is.
Right.
So quit worrying about it. And like, my family went bankrupt when I was a kid. My dad's business he had a bad business deal. And then, I've had money and not money, and kind of with Jeff, it's been a steady kind of we've started from one place and we're in a different space now in a better way, which is good. Because if I think back on how far even he and I have come financially, it's way different. My husband is the hardest worker and the most dedicated. Like, his work ethic is like something.
Oh, it's unmatched.
He can get up at 7 a.m. and he is meant to be on this earth to help people like that. And he knows that is his purpose. And if he has to have a session at 7 and he goes till 10:30, 11 at night, he will do that. And I'm always like, what? No, not happening.
Well, you were saying the other day, might have been about finances again, but you were saying the other day that you were looking back at like intentions you had written down a while ago and saw that like what you had written down are what is true for you right now.
Yeah, so I need to be grateful for it. That was a reality check for myself. I was having a bad, I wanted to be buried in a hole because my life is like, it's very difficult, and I try not to complain because I recognize this is self-induced, difficult with a remodel. But when people tell you it's like really hard, I'm like, yeah, okay, well, 8 weeks, like how hard can it be? It's very hard.
Okay, self-induced to a degree, but that doesn't it also doesn't minimize the stress and the fucking ridiculousness that some of this has been.
Yeah.
But there is, again, that line, always finding that fucking line. But that line between, yes, some of the stress is valid and bitching about it, but not getting pulled into that spiral.
Yeah. And I think I do a good job of I react always because that's who I am. But like I do a good job of being like, I can't with this anymore. Mm-hmm. Moving on. No, and then I find the next thing to flip out about. So there's like, that's my day.
There's always something to flip
Just
out
one
about.
wave after the other of what is going on today. But I do think that when you are unable to let things go, it's a control issue, and you would be very well off to look at some of the reasons that you might be holding on to things. Is it out of fear of whatever? Usually it's a fear-based, just off of how we habitually live. So, but asking yourself the questions like, why can't I let this go? Like, why am I obsessing about this? I have been so obsessively, I have had moments in my life where the thoughts and the obsessions, it's like, I have been like, do I need to check myself into a facility to like make the looping thought stop? Because it's so hard to snap out of when you are in it, and it's like, oh my God, I got to do something to get myself out of this. Get out of the house. Go do something for other people. That's what
I was
going
to ask you. What do you do to get out of that? But you just answered that. So
yeah, well, and you were going to ask for them because you know what I do.
I know what you do, but I was going to ask.
Like, yeah, so I have to get out of first and foremost. The easiest way to stop a looping thought for a little bit of time is to remove yourself from the environment in which you're in. Whether that's 10-minute walk, going to a store, I have like the store is my happy place. I'll walk around without even buying things. I just like it,
For sure, it's your happy place.
So like, but like getting out of your environment and then coming back, and if the thoughts are there again, then like, who can I reach out to that maybe I could be of service to today? And
just check in with, like call a friend and just be like, hey, like how's it going? I was thinking of you.
Yeah.
What's going on?
And I'm a big believer in volunteering your time to help other people. I thankfully have AA, so it's very easy for me to give back to people freely and willingly, like without having to search for it. Mm-hmm. But anywhere that you can volunteer your time, anywhere that you can be of service, if anything that you can do, buy a cup of coffee for someone and wait around to see their reaction on the inside of the store, not on the outside. I just believe in getting out of your own head, because my head is a dangerous neighborhood when I'm in it for too long, and it's not a good place for me to reside in like all day. I've got to get out, go to work, get out of the lane, and helping other people is single-handedly.
Well, I think that's a problem for everybody. Their head is the worst place to be.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine anybody being in a good place, stuck in their head.
No, I mean, unless you're a narcissist and super self-absorbed and think you're the bomb.com. I mean, I don't.
But then they're fucking delusional, so what does it matter?
I mean, yeah, I don't know.
I have a friend who will text me and she'll be like, sometimes I worry if I'm a narcissist. And I'm like, the fact that you're worried that you're a narcissist means you're not a narcissist. So I think you're good.
Yeah. And by the way, like there are narcissistic traits and then there's narcissism also.
But literally the fact that you're questioning means you're not a narcissist. So I think you're good.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. But yeah, I think just, doing things for other people helps. I hope that.
And grounding yourself in I know it's such a cliche thing. Everyone says it, but it's cliche for a reason because it works. Grounding yourself in gratitude. And it's the law of attraction, right? Like once you start seeing things you're grateful for, you're going to start seeing them more.
Now, yes, that's true. But you could be someone who is in a really bad spot, and so finding something to ground yourself in gratitude with, you could hear that and be like, it's fucking bullshit. Like, click, turning off. But like, if you're in a spot where like you can't even think of catastrophic loss, grief, depression, major depression disorder, bipolar, mental illness in one big category. But like, if you're in a space where you ground yourself in it,
there's got to still be
try to like
one thing, right? There's got to be at least.
Well, right,
one
but you have
thing.
some people who struggle to get the fuck out of bed, like they can't, they're not like dealing with like what am I? But if they're being open to the idea of grounding yourself in gratitude would be like one positive step into living in gratitude, because it's hard. It's hard for people in the world the way it is right now currently, with shit getting shot down in the sky and the Michigan, Chinese and whatever in North Lake Dakota.
Huron, it's fine. Like, you don't live here or anything.
But like, I mean, it's fucking hard for people. It's hard for me, and I've been doing it for 12 years. Like, it's hard some days to wake up and want to be grounded. It's the easier choice is always to be angry
and pissed off and annoyed and bitching. 100%.
You're cutting me off because you've had wine.
I am.
You're literally cutting me off.
Continue.
No, I think that if you want to be negative, that's the easier choice. If you want to be angry, that's the easiest choice. If you want to be bitter, it's easy. It's easy to be bitter. I could be pissed off all day long at everything. Like the lady who was driving like a dickhead today, almost caused an accident. Like, I mean, there's a million and one things that are going to pop up in your day that you have a choice. Do I let this bother me and fester, or do I let it go and move the fuck on? Mm-hmm. I like move the fuck on.
Maybe that's the sign we should get.
Yeah. I mean, it's the way that you're able to sort of not regret the things that you say, do, feel, like looking backward, trying to be not a dickhead and angry all the time. And here, like I said, this person maybe does have justifiable anger. I don't know. But I learned very early on in my journey to self, if that's what you want to call it, like, just because it's justifiable doesn't make it right for you to feel it. And it's actually more potent and more dangerous for you when it is justifiable, because you don't need to twist things. It's there, the evidence, right, that you have a reason to be angry and somebody wronged you. What are you going to do with that information? Are you going to allow that to cause you to self-sabotage daily and fuck up your life and be angry and mad and lonely and isolated? Or Are you going to say, yeah, I do have a reason to be mad, but I mean, I can't sit in it. I can't swim in it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of like what we talked about last week with the making the choice and being aware. But I think part of the problem is that, like you said, it's easier to sit in the negativity and the anger. And also, I don't know, people just don't take a second to be aware that they're doing that.
No, you could have someone who finds a problem for every solution.
Exactly.
But that's the way they've been their whole life.
But in their head, they think they're justified, right? And it's kind of like they very much live in that mentality of like everyone's out to get them, or that's just their way their life goes. Everything goes wrong. This is just the way that it is. And they don't take a second. I think they don't even know how to think differently.
Yeah, no, I don't think they do. I mean, and that isn't necessarily victim mindset either. Like, that's just programmed
Conditioning.
how you have learned to handle. That's the tools you were given to handle, like coping skills. Like that's what you use, is to be angry and bitter. And
if that's what you saw, I mean, say that's how your mom handled things. Like so many things go into that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like eventually one of these days we'll have to get into generational trauma, because I feel like that's like a huge thing that we don't even think about. The conditioning and the way that things are passed down to us, the way that we handle situations, the things we believe, Mm-hmm.
Oh, God, that's sour. Sorry. Yeah.
That's my 2 cents.
Okay, so we're running out of time. I just was like trying to figure out where we were sticking it. It's like 32 minutes. You guys, because I just like talking. I could talk all day.
I know, we could talk all day. Also, I realized that we forgot the cards again. Oh. I can see them from here, but
you have one job. I give you one responsibility.
Listen, I'm going to call bullshit on that one, but I can see them from here.
No, it'll be too clanky. Anyways, you guys, join the Facebook group if you want more of this hot mess.
Live, damn it.
So, join the group.
Yes,
we're trying to grow it. So join it.
There's good conversations happening.
There are. Join it. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
What was that?
Fun.